Hey bunnies, welcome back to the stream. I was gonna play Stardew Valley first, but I figured Stardew Valley is okay to play while chilling, but I feel like Megabonk is not something I want to start and play for a little bit. It's something I want to start with and then like swap to Stardew, so we're gonna play a bit of Megabonk first, and then we're gonna swap to Stardew and play for the rest of the stream. Just a few rounds of Megabonk, because they take a while anyway. It's fine. Because I've been itching to play it. I have played it off stream a little bit because I just have been itching to play it. Hi. I'm back. It's been a week. Since I've been gone, I got married and had a honeymoon. And so yeah, that's where I've been. There's not much else to say. Yeah, that's yeah, and now I'm ready to stream again, and let's get into it, I guess. Also, welcome to the stream. It's Elysium. I like that, that's a cool name. Let's jump into Megabonk. I just realized two musics were playing at once, and I'm sure that's really annoying. So I got two things for Clank here, so I might focus on Clank for the few games that I'm playing here, and we may as well do something on top of the Clank situations, like get the bloody tome to level 12. Luck tome to level 12. I do like a luck. Let's get the luck tome to level 12. Have we unlocked the luck tome? I do enjoy Clank. It definitely immediately my playstyle as soon as I... Okay, I do have luck tome. So we'll do luck and... Wait, what's bloody? Do I have bloody and... What is it? Lifesteal. Let's do bloody and luck. And then maybe attack speed. I don't know what weapons I should choose, but yeah, let's do that. And we'll do desert because I haven't finished a desert thing yet. I am not playing good so far. Usually there's like a shrine next to me. Scales off of crit chance or crit damage. Ooh. Might waste a refresh on something good. I don't know if size is worth it for Clank. I don't know what size would do to the bullets, so I'm gonna assume it doesn't do anything, but I clicked it anyway. I just unlocked the wireless dagger. Let's do a refresh. No. Ooh, so much crit. I'm already on 20% crit chance? Oh, you'll have something. Yeah, it gets extra crit chances. Is that what you meant by scales? Yeah, so I don't really need crit chance on him. But it would be nice to start off with a higher crit chance. Crit damage, though, would be good. Let's do projectile speed. Or is it instant? Maybe that was a waste. Maybe that was a waste. Oh no, it's not instant. It might be alright. We don't need that just yet. Really not getting any of the tomes I wanted. Yeah. That... I regret that. Yeah. We'll nuke everyone. We'll get a chest. Yeah, I like the wrench. And then we'll grab the magnet. And maybe we'll get what we need. Bloody tome. Revolver. We'll get the cooldown tome. I should just choose some random weapons to, like, get rid of the weapons from the item pool. Although it probably is, like, the same amount of weapons. I wouldn't mind the Megabonk. Or the bonk hammer? I can't remember what that's called. Yes. Gold chest will work. I'm gonna guess. There's no reason not to take it. I'm not going for a gold run, so I doubt that I'll have any... I doubt I'll have much chests to choose from anyway, so banishing it's just a waste of a chest. At least it means it'll do extra damage while I charge these. I'll just increase attack speed to get more chances to crit. Because that plus the Megabonk would be nice if we get a chance to it. Increase the damage. Although, like, I feel like it'll be good for bosses, I guess. Tired of that damage tome. Let's get some more HP regen just in case of death, because I'm feeling it. I feel like I always get into a bad position with Clank with a swarm. I should probably work on grabbing a good area of effect weapon. Ooh, I didn't see that. It's too late. Early on when I'm playing as Clank. Chunky rocks are just useless. Yeah. No. I need that luck totem, what the hell? Yeah, I'll get it. Just so I can have it, and then I will... Maybe I'll have time. Maybe I'll have time. I should have over 100 stuff, yeah? Alright, let's just go to the boss battle room. I still don't really, I should probably look it up, but I still don't really know what luck does for me as far as, like, I get that I'm assuming every chance-based thing is, like, buffed by some thing, or maybe it's, like, to do with, like, pick up, I don't know. I got no idea. Like, loot pool rarity, maybe? Maybe I have more chances of getting, like, rares and epics and that kind of thing. Might be useful. I'll take it. Well, it gives you better rewards from chests, I see. I don't think I'm gonna be jumping that much with this character. I'm not gonna use the airborne stuff. Scarf. See, I need to get this. The whole reason I'm doing this run is to get those tomes up to get some more quests while I get kills off Clank. So I shouldn't open chests until I have high luck, is what you're telling me. I should, like, wait. That's what I'm getting from that. No point opening chests if I don't have the high luck. You'll probably end up getting a higher quality loot from chests and improves rewards from other sources like level ups and shrines. Interesting. Let's do attack speed. Attack speed. Bloody time for the challenge. Right, but it's gonna go fast as fuck. That's actually not that fast, okay. Let's get that head and then the shrine. Ooh, I do like ghosts. Especially with so many interactables around. It's alright, I'm gonna go for it. Really? Okay, we got one quest, that's alright. But yeah, okay, that's a lot of stuff that luck does. Yeah, right, I'll take that. I should probably go to the portal and start shooting some stuff. Was there something I missed? I thought there was... Huh. I mean, there's a bunch of stuff here, but like I thought there was something else that I missed. Do I want extra jumps at the moment? So that's a gold microwave, right? Is that how that works? I don't really know what I want at the moment because I've just basically picked way too many things. I have, okay, a 50% chance. Increasing my crit's probably a good idea. Ooh. Oh, it's a legendary microwave. Okay, I'm never gonna use that. I don't have any legendaries. I was thinking like, what's a yellow item? It's a legendary item. Cool. I've already beaten that bandit, I don't want to beat him again. I do more damage on elites, so I will... by 20% per max HP. Well, I don't even have any of that, so I guess I just won't buy that. I'll save my money. Ooh, but that... I do need to increase my luck tome stuff, but... let's get that chest, and then we really need to run to that boss battle or we're not going to make it. Sure, that's like a 60% crit chance. We won't open these chests till we... actually, I don't know if I can open those chests, but we won't attempt to open the chests until this happens. I don't think we've actually killed the Anubis yet. Because I haven't been playing... this thing is like a bullet hell. And I haven't been playing the game like it is a bullet hell. Alright, I should... wait. Do I not? I thought I had to go into the boss portal. Do I not? Yeah, the banana ring is quite stupid. I had it not unlocked for a while because I was like, it's just so silly. But it's pretty good too. Actually, this might be the first time I'm using it after, like, I got it from the... whatever mission was required. I do have extra damage if I stay still. That might be the goal at the moment. Oops, messed that up. I'm not dealing enough damage to get my lifesteal going. What's that about? Don't I have 40% lifesteal? Is that a 40% chance of... hang on. There's a speed boost here. Oh no! I missed it. Oh, I'm stuck. The ghosts are very funny. Do I go through the portal only, like, when I do finish killing the boss? Is it next time I jump in when I go through the portal? Or is that just only for the forest level? Oh no, the forest level you go through twice, right? No, maybe I'm stupid. We unlocked 2 quests. We were hoping to unlock 2 completely different quests. Touch for like ghosts. You only get the portal for level 2 and 3. Okay. I was correct. Nice. Okay. Wait. Oh, I've used the katana. I haven't bought it yet. Okay. There's a toggler, that's it. Purchase 40 unlocks. I don't know if, like, I feel like I should be saving up. Like, there's no point using that increased silver earned if I don't just keep doing, like, I should be doing it at the start to increase the amount that I get, right? I don't think there are, Raijin 0122. I really wish Restream would let me block them in Twitch as well as on Restream, because it's nonsense. To be honest, I feel like I should block specific phrases, because that's the exact phrase that all bots use. Yeah, exactly. Ooh, do I just go straight for the banana rang? I don't know if wireless dagger is useful or not. Actually, no, I'll just get the projectiles for now. Did I like miss a bunch of stuff? Why was there like no enemies? Why did that open? What was that? Extra crit chance is always useful. Nah, that's useful. Really? Alright. And the question is, should I get luck, bloody, and XP totem? Because if I get the XP totem, this is bad. Thank God Clank has shields. Oh, hang on, poison goes through shields. That sucks. Alright, I've got to ignore these power-ups now. Don't I? I think I just heard a chest drop. Maybe if I find a magnet, I will suddenly have XP. Oh no. Oh, he didn't hit me. Cool. You know, I'm just gonna keep going. I'm gonna make it hell for myself. Why not? I can take it. Ow. There's some Maui shrine? I don't know how you say that. There's a lot of things. So I didn't mention at the start of the stream, but if like I suddenly scream in, oh, there's a magnet. If I suddenly like scream in terror or something, there's a magnet. It's because there's a lot of spiderwebs in this area, and I'm assuming there's definitely some weird new spiderwebs, and I don't know what spider that belongs to, so I may die tonight. We'll see. That could be good, actually. Yeah, let's get the Aegis to block that stuff. I shouldn't be going for luck. I know that that's why I'm here, to go for luck. Just keep blocking damage. But like, I don't need to. I need to go back to those chests, actually, that... I don't need maggots right now, I haven't killed enough people. I don't need to get luck, because I'm not unlocking chests right now. Wee. Why did I run into that? No, I'm leaving. Ooh, I'm gonna die. It's fun. That's fun and cool. just kept going for luck. Alright, we'll do one more of this and then Stardew maybe? Depending on how long this takes, I guess. I definitely feel like the level 2 of both the forest and this were ones that kind of felt like they needed to... Like, I feel like I needed the toggler to not have just so much stuff. See, a sword would be good to keep people off me. Hey, let's do that. I like the blocking. The blocking is good. Someone remind me he's there. I want that blade. Oops. Okay. Black hole could be fun too. I didn't see how much, it was like 200 or something, right? Oh no. Alright, easy. Let's get those totems up here. Ideally increase that crit chance by a little bit. I'm thinking I need to increase my XP. I'm not going to use that. I'm not going to use that. Oh no! I'm sorry, I stumbled into it. Extra damage by a fair margin is pretty good. Extra shield, I like that. Is that best paired with like a... a shield percentage increase thing though? I feel like having +5 shield doesn't sound very useful in like later rounds, later times. Yeah. Another nuke? Alright. Let's do that. There's some stuff over here. I keep forgetting that the dash ability exists until it's way too late. Oh, good damage. It's a shitty microwave. Why did I walk to that? Oh, this is not the best time. Oh no. Just jump, just jump. He can't kill all of me. What did you just drop? shield. I could have used that. I'm gonna die. I was kind of hoping for something else, but I'll just take the drop chance. Thank God I have my bloody tome slightly, and I can heal a little bit. There's a heart there, but I don't think I'll be able to get it safely without just dying. Ooh, hang on. Oh no, no. I've been swarmed. Is that gonna help me? It's not. Alright. Do I have one more? Do I have one more go? And not be stupid and upgrade my... Oh no, I didn't have an XP tome in this one. Just my bloody tome. Sorry, luck tome is what I didn't have. I wish I had an XP tome. Then I would have maybe gotten something... At least been doing some crits. Alright, I think Aegis is the go. What other weapons do I have? I feel like going for those crit bullets and then adding the Aegis and some other AoE. Black hole, is that who I... probably like the swords, right? Yeah, I'm going with that. So we'll go swords, Aegis. We want bloody. And I think... I mean, bouncing projectiles is fun. I think regen's where I want to go. Does duration stack with attack speed? Unsure. Because I'm assuming duration, like, because I attack multiple times, I'm assuming duration is related to that, right? Like, it just attacks more times. Ooh, extra armor. I think I want that. Because that's, like, less, just all damage less, right? Good chance, useful. Ah, I don't know what my mouse just did then. I want to refresh something, but we keep getting really good items for survival, so I've just been kind of sitting with it. I really probably should go for like XP gain to start with to have a fighting chance at having all the items I require. Maybe it's not the play, I don't know. Power up drop chain. I think the power ups are quite useful, especially if we get some magnets. Alright, we're going for luck, so don't open any chests till that gets high. Leave that. Just XP gain. We need to be able to get luck to 15 or whatever it is. Ooh, I forgot you existed in level 2. I just realized I don't know if I have any regen. I probably should get some. Have I seen an Aegis or a sword yet? What is it? Explosions. Ooh. Interesting. I guess that would be good. That's gonna be good if I get the sword. And the Aegis, probably. Did I see something there? Yeah. I could get the aura instead of the sword. Yeah, I'll do that. Although it does, I think I do like the thorns. I think there's an achievement for killing the cactuses with thorns, so like maybe I'll accidentally get it. Oh, should I maybe just stand in front of that sand golem? Okay. Sure. Definitely don't have any regen. Did I just see an XP term and ignore it? I think I might have. Well, I want XP gain for the ability to survive. I also want... Sorry, attack speed is what I meant to say. Luck. We're gonna start opening chests soon. Like I said, I always find myself screwed over with swarms as Clank. I don't know why. I'm just stupid. What'd you drop? Speed. That could have been useful. Alright, I got some luck, let's open it. That's useful, actually. Oh, we got the killing enemies. Okay, that's what we came here for. We can start Stardew now if you want, right now. We got the slutty rocket. I don't know if that's useful or not. It's a lot of cactuses. Ooh, I don't really want difficulty up. Both of those rares are not my favorite things. Oh, refresh. Just do some more. Oh, that could do something for me, I think. Is that a legendary shrine? Thorns could be fun, attack speed's fun. Let's do attack speed. Oh, snit. Okay, let's do max HP. Because we need it now. What? I don't think there was a tornado anywhere. Luck. That guy. That guy. Look, I don't think I'm winning this round. Oh, shit. Alright. How did that even happen? They just kind of piled out of the one spot and stunning me. Alright, can I get that? I think I want the XP tome right now. Let's go for thorns, because I'm getting hit a lot. I don't know if getting hit in the shield, like getting blocked, counts for thorns. There's a lot going on. I think I'm actually dishing out enough damage for lifesteal to be effective right now. And I'm happy about it. Actually, that might have just been the shields that made me survive. I might die as soon as... It's looking like it. Oh, I'm stuck. I am so stuck. I just get bounced. Alright, I think we're going to Stardew now. Because we got the Clank skin and the Slutty Rocket, which I don't think that's something people use. I could be wrong. I still don't know if I should bother increasing silver and if I should just spend it on stuff. Refreshes would be nice. I don't know why you would skip level ups. Is that a thing? Extra banishing is good. That's like a useful thing. Although it's not useful when you have the toggler. So there's that, I guess. You get Tornado when you charge a charge run during a sandstorm. Oh, yeah, okay. Oh, and it costs money. Well, I gotta purchase it. It's my first skin, of course. But I will jump into Stardew. We'll exit this. We gotta change the title for just Twitch. YouTube won't. Doesn't have a game set up. I believe. Now, you're gonna have to bear with me in this Stardew Valley playthrough, because it's been 2 weeks? I don't think I played it the week before we disappeared. So, I have a feeling that I can't remember anything. These are the notes we have left. We need 5 gold pumpkins and 1 normal pumpkin, I'm assuming for the community center. We need oak resin, not pine tar. 4 barrels of wine, maybe? There was a question mark on cook stuff and geese. Because I think I want geese. I was told that geese is the easiest to look after chickens, but we need to actually build the upgraded coop. I forgot we have a second house. How cute. We'll just leave one in there. And we'll sell the rest. Dear Epic, how are things going? You must really be making a fortune on that farm. Don't forget your dear old mother when you're a millionaire. Love, Mum. Enjoy the cake. Oh, I remember. Okay. I usually look at the no. Actually, I can just. I usually look at what happens at the start of the day. Sorry, what? My inventory is like full. No. No. It's trash, is it not? I should let the chickens out. Oh, we got the pumpkins. That's... the arrow bit on the right of each chest to dump everything from your inventory that already has a spot in there. Oh, I've never seen that before. That's insane. Oh, that's sick. I don't think I need that mayonnaise, but that's alright. I don't know what I need to do with the battery pack, so I'm leaving it in here with my community center stuff. Epic, you're lucky I found you last night. Oh, I died last night. Alright. Sick. Also, you finally caught a Stardew Valley stream. I genuinely didn't notice your name just then. Nice. Why are you out there? How did you do that so quickly? Alright, you come here and then we'll let the meat out. All right. I don't need that for anything, so I guess we'll make some cheese. Egg. This farm is a mess, by the way. I might put the squid ink in here. I'm not really sure if I care about it right now. We need to put some more jams in the area. Is there a community center for the pomegranate still? Are you sure? Can't be this one. That's what I need the extra pumpkin for, which we've just got pumpkins, so we'll have to see if we get gold ones. The last thing in the crafts room. There's no way that's in the fish tank. There's no way that's in the vault. Enchanter's bundle. Alright. We need to go to... Did I just get... I've got 5 gold pumpkins already. 8 gold pumpkins already. I can't put it in there. I might just sell the normal pumpkins. We've got a lot of stuff to do. Like, my brain's not working. at all. Don't let me sell that pumpkin. All right, that's I think the biggest thing. Don't let me sell those gold pumpkins because we need them for 2 community centers stuff. Yeah, I don't know like what's going on. We must have just planted all this at once and not touched it, I guess. Okay, my inventory's full. I don't need a broccoli for anything, so I can sell that. Aha, 2 gold broccoli. I don't think you really make anything from cooking, so I'll just sell it. We'll just sell the sunflowers. I have no inventory space. Let's put this here. Was it a fairy? It must have been, I guess. I don't remember seeing one the start, but like maybe it's a certain time that it comes, isn't it? All right, nothing. I'm just gonna sell the bat wings and the slime and that. We don't need corn. No. Oh, I should keep. No, actually, I don't have a chest just for the milk. Yeah, let's put the milk and cheese back in here. I forgot about that. And we can sell the cheese. And we can sell the silver pumpkins. Do I need a hazelnut for something? No. No. Okay. Alright, I'm just gonna plant the blackberries in the jam spot, I guess. Don't forget the 1 extra pumpkin. Yes, I think I can just use gold pumpkin. I probably shouldn't, but I think I can just use gold. Oops, no. Alright, I guess I'll sell the hazelnuts. And the common mushrooms. And the silver hazelnuts. And the crab? Yeah, oh. No, not the crab. Need the crab. And I need that sunflower there for the honey. And it's the 14th of autumn, which is how seasons work. All right. That saved me so much time. Sell the corn. Okay. And now I need to water these plants. No. Plant these. We'll plant them here because it's easily re-watered. And then we'll keep watering these guys. I need to actually plan out this plot a bit better. I did plan it out and then I just somehow just like forgot what I was doing and started putting stuff everywhere. Oops. So hopefully after I've done all my stuff, I'll have enough time to talk to Seedman and get some more seeds. I don't want to pick that sunflower because it gives me honey faster, and I want honey faster. Oops. Well, that's not going to help. I don't know if I need to keep that watered or not, but I probably shouldn't. Alright. We'll sell the cheeses and the milks. Sorry, the mayos. What else do I need to do? I don't think there's anything else I need to do here. I'm not thinking about iron and stuff at the moment. Oh no, sorry, I need to get... Community centers. I don't know. I think I'm keeping artisan gold star goods for the food lad. I need 2 more parsnips. I need more wheat, I think. So it's just these 2 and the crab that I need to put away, I guess. Is it faster to just go up? I feel like it is. I don't need to touch them right now. They're fine. I feel like feeding the cat should get you something. I think the cat should bring you, like, rats. I don't think I've had an orange before. Is that... It is something for something. I'm gonna feed the cat anyway. Otherwise it's just rude. I like the spooky Halloween trees. They're nice. Honestly, I'm really interested in the Haunted Chocolatier. Do you want blackberries? You're welcome. He says I don't like to stay in one place for too long. However, it's 6:40 PM. What? I am enjoying the new kitchen. I haven't used it yet, but I'm enjoying it. I think the only reason I did it was so I could have the chance to cook stuff, but I haven't done it yet. Time goes so fast in this game. I'm assuming the crabs are here, right? Yes. Oh, it's a crab pot bundle and we have crab pots going that we haven't checked yet. Oh, I forgot the pomegranate. That's like one of the only other things that we needed to bring. Sick. Just need a nautilus shell, which I assume we can find on like the beach somewhere, right? Pumpkins down this way, I think. I'm assuming it's this one, but I could be wrong. Look, did I just lose 13 pumpkins? Better not have. Free bee house. Bee house? Beehive. I didn't. Cool. Oh, you hurry up. Thank you. Oh. That's not what I needed. I don't need the parsnips anymore. Sick. Preserves jar. Is my UI weird? Why do they look like that? Orange. Oh, look at us go. Now we just need duck egg, and I guess goat milk. Was that everything?
Good soup.
Good soup. You're a top tier bun. Thank you. I really have nothing else. Alright. I gotta see Gunther tomorrow to get that artifact out of my inventory. I guess we'll plant that keg. I feel like walking around, I'm playing it like I would play Minecraft, and like walking around going, ooh, let's do this. When Stardew Valley is very much a like plan everything before you do it game, which sucks when you don't know how the game works yet. But like, because time passes as you play, it's very hard to just like walk around and like enjoy the vibes. You've got to panic at all times. I'm out of places to put my preserve jar. Is this maybe not a good spot for my preserve jars? What? Leave it there, because I think this is where I want my farm to be. And let's just chuck something stupid in it, like a gold star orange. Put a keg up here, make everything out of water. Oh, I have wine. No, I believe you can get aging barrels for the wine to like increase the stars, but I feel like I may as well, like it's gonna take a while for me to get enough, so I may as well just sell the wine as it is, right? That's what I'm thinking. Just gonna sell the pumpkin and the plum. I probably shouldn't. Cheese, the mayo. That. I don't know why I said pine tar, not oak resin. Oh, sorry, did I say oak resin, not pine tar? Was that what I read? Oak resin, not pine tar. And is that for the kegs? Yes. I think because I have two... So look, yes. I forgot about that. I think because I have two pine tar taps. I don't need those either. Oh no, sorry, the melon was to give to my love interest, I believe, who I have forgotten the name of, because it's Penny. I was gonna say Julie, it's Penny. Alright, you guys are in your cages. Sick. Sick, you guys aren't asleep. Go to bed. I guess I will also head to bed. Yes. Luring cram proficiency and hoe proficiency. Seed maker sounds nice. There's no way I can afford an iridium sprinkler. And quality fertilizer could be useful. We earned 14k just from farming. Does that include... Okay, it includes the artisan farming goods. So much pumpkin money. So much pumpkin money. Alright. So we're halfway through fall. Oh, do not sleep. Oh, it's raining. This is good. This saves me time. What do you got for me? How are you doing? I've enclosed sashimi recipe. Sick, Linus. I want to remind you that the Stardew Valley Fair is happening tomorrow. Don't forget to bring your 9 items for the Grange display. Oh, that was what it was for. I don't know what I don't know what that means really. I have a feeling. I assume I don't open that back up, right? For rainy days? I guess I can. If they want it. I don't remember if I named any of these. No, these were all randomly generated. Okay, some of the chickens are named after viewers, but I think I must have had the cows at a random time where all the viewers were already the same ones. Sucks. But I can probably name some geese after yous. Oh, amaranth, I needed to give that to someone. Just need to find that basket. Wait. Oh, no, I didn't need to give it to someone, sorry. I remember. Right? No, I'm pretty sure I got one already. I think it's fine. Alright, let's sell these. That last one? Yes, that makes sense. Yeah, I must have planted it in 2 batches or something. Alright, let's sell my crops. And then we need to check on... we don't fish. I think I should just ignore that bait. Alright, let's go straight to... I think we just walk to town. We need to buy seeds. And we need to think about the fact that there's only 15 days left of autumn. So I think the pumpkins might be out of season. Oh yeah, I forgot I made friends with Abigail. Sucks to suck. Want me to teach you how to play? Epic, she said, sorry. You scared me sneaking into my room like that. So I've been playing Journey of the Prairie King for hours and I can't even beat the first level. This game is ridiculously hard. It is pretty hard, but I'm pretty good at it. Either that or I'm just terrible at it. Probably that one. Probably that one. Hey, do you want to try this level together with me? I think I might do better with your help. Reading is not good though. Wait, are we actually playing like a co-op? Oh shit. I will protect you. Jesus Christ. So I know I was supposed to be better at it. Is she making it harder for me? Because, like, she blocks me off. Ugh. Haha. Halfway done? Oh, the first level? We're just playing the first level? This is pretty fun. Like a co-op, like I mean, like story-wise, the game. You know, I already played this in the arcade, but like as far as the story goes, it's pretty fun. Ooh, I mean, I don't know if I was supposed to hold on to that for the next level. Oh, gun. Was I supposed to pick up that gun? Hey, that was fun. Well, thanks, Epic. You seem to really know your way around a joystick, huh? I guess that makes sense. Because I'm a farmer? Okay, 13 days. Okay, we can plant more pumpkins if we want to. I think pumpkin gives me a lot more money than corn does. Corn's good at the start of harvest, but I think pumpkin's big money's if I'm not starting it off. Cranberries could have been important, I'm not sure. Any, I've heard not to plant fruit till we get the greenhouse so that we can plant it during all seasons. I'll get... You can put them in barrels as well, not sure how it compares to grapes, though. Pumpkins? I just sold them all because I figured you couldn't put pumpkins in. What do you mean cranberries? I'll buy 15 pumpkins. No, I'll buy 20 pumpkins. I'll buy 20 pumpkins, and that's it. That's all the pumpkins I'm gonna get. All right. And then I'm gonna find Penny and talk to her. Although I don't have a gift for her. So maybe I go back, plant the seeds. I talk to Marnie while I'm here. Hello, Marnie. I have heard you like animals. Wait, can I buy like 7 wheat off you? Ooh, should I buy 2 heaters? Unsure if necessary. Alright, we plant these pumpkins, and then I'm going to go up to Robin and see how much it costs me to get an advanced coop to get geeses. Oh yeah, I forgot I was planning this. Alright. There's some kind of fertilizer on this, I'm not really sure what. I apply fertilizer first, I can never... Probably. That doesn't go there, that goes there. I'll try and leave this row empty when I can. Yeah. Let's just plant you... Well, that's in the wrong spot. This is like kind of in the wrong spot compared to these guys, but I think that was because I planted them in the wrong area. So I can plant these two. Because that's in the right spot, and then that's... Oh, that's one up. That's my issue. This would be in the right spot if that was in the wrong spot. Cool. So I can move that down wherever I want. And I guess put the rest there. Put some fertilizer down. Sick. I forgot about Gunther. That's fine. Mayo. Do not drink the mayo. Cheese, and just one egg. All right. So those pumpkins should give us a certain amount of money by the end of autumn, and that should be fine. Now we go to Gunther. I don't think we'll make it. Oh no, we will take it in time with the thing. I don't think we'll make either Robin or Gunther in time, but I do want to get rid of stuff from my inventory, so I may as well do Gunther first. Oh, and the geodes. So all that would be good to do now. Do Gunther first because it's one thing and it's could give me an immediate reward. That's actually worth giving. Doesn't though. It is probably a good day to do the mines when it rains, but I had plant stuff. Gift for Penny. I forgot about finding Penny's gift. That was the whole reason we came back, wasn't it? I should have done the geodes first. We got so much more stuff for Gunther now. It's so too late. Penny goes to bed at like 7. Ooh, an achievement. I don't like that. Alright. Is it easy to get to Robin from the mines? No, it's not, is it? And I think it's too late to just get a gift for Penny. I think I might just go to Robin. Can you go in a house now, though? Oh, I can. It's probably faster for me to go back to the minecart then. Can I get through this? Yes. Alright. Now, I believe melons was the goal. I don't know if the stars matter. I think melons. What was that noise? It sounded like something just exploded. I don't know where Penny would be while it's raining. Like, does she call off school? I guess I'll talk to you. Grandma told me I should spend more time studying. Suck this up. A huge plate of wild mushrooms and eggs for breakfast. That sounds horrible. Do I have any? No. You guys are... It's only 5:30. Why are you all drinking already? Oh, Penny is here. Raindrops are loud on the metal roof of our trailer. She must just call off school when it rains. Because I haven't seen her when it's rained before. Yeah, you do. Read anything interesting in the library lately? Why do you even think that why do you assume I've been to the library? Bit suspicious. Robin closes at like 3, surely. Maybe it's 5. Either way, it's closed. Alright. We're getting somewhere. I feel like I can just sell these. Is this an actual scarecrow? Or is it a rare crow? You know what I mean? Like, what does that mean for me? It's like too late to go to the mines, but too early for anything else. Can I make anything? Should I maybe... Let's... What have I got in the way of stone and wood? Do I have... Oh, 243. I think I need more if I'm to upgrade my coop. I probably need hardwood too. Oh, really? That pine tar or oak resin? And I didn't actually realize I had a thing down here. Oh, okay. That's all right. How did so many pine trees pop up? I swear there were not this many pine trees. Like, when I finished last time. Maybe I'm wrong. I guess I probably just haven't looked. But I also probably don't need pine tar for anything. Like, we need maple syrup for the beer, oak resin for the keg, pine tar for a loom, but I was told that wool isn't really even that useful. A seed maker can give me more seeds than I bought, which essentially triples the profit of a crop. still don't know if a dehydrator is worth it or not. I've found fire quartz yet though. Oh, you need pine tar for speed grow, which I could use that. And that's for making an egg dungeon thing, isn't it? I assume. Need a battery pack for the iridium sprinkler. We need an iridium bar and a gold bar, which we might even have. I'm not sure, but like we might. Oh, I should check those crab pots. I'm assuming we need more hardwood as the levels go up, so I'm gonna collect all this. Just in case. I feel like I'm likely need rocks more than I need wood. Especially because it's so much harder to get rocks. Like a rock per hit? That's insane. Oh, was it hit by lightning? Is that like an actual problem that I've got to worry about? Like, should I be setting up lightning rods around the place? Is that fully grown? Oh. Is this a chef bundle? Alright, we'll just keep one then. Well, sorry, we'll put one in the special chest. Oh, I can't like drag it. Okay, I'll leave you there. Grab another melon. And we'll just eat those, I guess. Let's put some storage. Oh, that's so good. And I want to put moss here for more speed grow. Sell that. I think I'm giving amethyst to Marnie. I think that's why I have it in my inventory. Okay. Jeff loves me. Yeah, he does. Just remember, I need to lock that up. I don't know if I actually need to, but I should. And then we sleep. Whoops. My bed. It's not a bad harvest. Got honey. You've been taking real good care of your pet. I'm really happy about that, but there are many sweet animals that need a home. If you're interested, I'll start offering pet adoptions. Just be aware that there is a licensing fee and also that each pet will want their own outdoor pet ball area or they'll be unhappy. Robin will be happy to construct additional pet balls for a price. See you soon. That is sick. However, I very much do not have the room to do that in my brain. Alright? Like, you need to understand. There's not enough room in there. There's so much going on in this game already. I can't start adopting more pets. Can't pick it up. My god. I think that might be it. Yes. We'll put the corn away and then we'll let the animals out. Oh, the fair. I hate it. I don't want to go to the fair. But like I haven't done the fair yet and I feel like I should go to the fair. Just for like moral support. I'll keep the sunflower honey. It's 9 items. I'll get that. Is it like 9 separate items? What's that? 2, 3, 6, 7. Like a sunflower. Alright. I'm assuming everyone's closed for the fair, so I can't really do anything anyway. Oh, and it's like right here. Yeah? What do you mean start? Okay. Oh, I can play games? Well, over gets the big day, our most important festival of the year, the Stardew Valley Fair. If you'd like to participate by setting up a Grange display with an empty stand for you, just let me know after you've set everything up so we can get to the judging. Alright. Let's set up the display with just absolute nonsense. I've got no idea if I need to have any... Can I not count? Did I count these two? Just gonna put these in. I don't know. Alright. You. Pierre's very serious about his Grange display. He's been setting aside the best looking produce for weeks in preparation. My store carries the very finest quality products in the whole valley. Please inspect my Grange display closely and see for yourself. I can't? Doesn't let me. It's a long bus ride here, but totally worth it. This valley is so beautiful. Simon loves it, don't you, Simon? I don't know, do you, Simon? I already beat the games, now what? Good job, Abigail. That's what I taught ya. I played the strength game too many times and now my arms feel like rubber. Nice. Have you been to the fortune teller? She set up her stand in the graveyard. Nice. Better hurry up, kid, before old Pam here fishes every last lunker out of the tent. Heh heh heh. Alright, Penny. I won the Wheel of Chance 10 times in a row and now the man won't let me play anymore. How are you that lucky? It's a fun look on town you've got here, nice and cozy and a real sense of community. Yeah, I guess. Can I not talk to you? Oh. Selling. Okay, I'm assuming you can win them or you can buy them. Robin really works hard on her carpentry stuff. She deserves a little recognition now and then. Oh, has she got a stand? Oh no, she's got a whole thing. Woodworking is an ancient tradition that I am very proud to be a part of. Nice. Really admire Robin's carpentry skill. I use a lot of the same techniques in my own line of work. What do you do? All I know is you eat mushrooms off the floor. And you live near Marnie. I complain about my job sometimes, but I do take pride in my work. These are some of my finest pieces. I hope they're just gold bars. Excuse me? They're probably my gold bars. Clint's blades get sharper every year. There's no way that's true. So do his prices. That probably true. Just gonna hang out here for a while. Hey, hope you're having a good time. These two are totally gay for each other, right? They're always hanging out, smoking. That's what I think's happening here. The slingshot tent's pretty fun, and if you get good at it, you can really rack up the star tokens. Those animals are friendly and love to get massaged. Massaged? Not like petted? Massaged. Good job, Vincent. They do say moo. Ow, I hadn't picked my little finger. It's your own fault, really. Guess it's going up a bunch of pork ribs. Yikes. I've got some soul searching to do. Alright. Is Gus barbecuing something? Would have made a good clown. I think I missed my calling. Alright, be a clown, Emily. You can do it. He doesn't look very happy. I guess Mayor Lewis had to cut costs with the budget clown this year. Nice. Oh, he's not a real thing. Okay. Let's go to talk to the enchanter and then the fortune teller. Well, Luke and I have known each other for a long time. She's a remarkable diviner and a good friend. Is it a diviner? I've always said it diviner because I've only ever read it. Clown, I know him from somewhere. Is it the School of Illusion? Or maybe the Carnival of Secrets? Alright, you're very suspicious, and the clown is also suspicious. I don't like the evil eyes. My crystal ball swirling with visions of your future, young one. Read it. I see you laying on a cot. It looks like a hospital. Marnie is there to keep you company while you recover. What a nice friend. Now I see you and Penny in a dimly lit room. You look serious, but not unhappy. Something important must be happening. Crystal ball has moved on. Now I see you harvesting a plump, ripe melon. You're in a wonderful looking farm bursting with life. The crystal ball has gone dim. That's all I can do for you, young one. Now just keep in mind that the future isn't set in stone. Whatever I've told you today can still be changed if you set your heart on it. Farewell. You just tell me I'm gonna have sex with Penny? That's what I got from that. I don't know if that's what they were trying to sell me. And for some reason Marnie's holding my hand. I don't know what that was about. Did I die? Try to hand it some fishing. Yeah, right. Oh, you gotta pay money anyway. Wait, sorry. What? Oh, it's like actual, okay. Oh. Oops. Yeah, right. This is not how fish work. In the actual rivers in this game. Oops. Ooh. One last fishy. How many was I supposed to earn? Oh, that's pretty good. Green. 10. Sick. You? Yeah, right. I haven't used the slingshot properly yet. I see. Oh. Whoops. Oh. Oops. I'm assuming accuracy is important for this. 31 of 43. That's not terrible. 50 tokens. Alright. That's definitely not my game. I could probably do the fishing one. So you strong like me, smash stone. Strength level orc. Oops. Nice. 1 star token, nice. Can I pay money to keep playing games, or I can just buy things? I do want another rare crow. I don't really care about the star drop. A prize ticket might be fun. So I need 1,800 is what I need. And am I just gonna buy them all? Sorry. That's too much. I think I was making more money just doing the fishing, and it was not that slow. I think I got screwed over there, because I clicked the button after the thing happened, and nothing happened. I feel like this fishing doesn't count. I feel like all of the fishing in the rivers are harder than this fishing. I didn't get it perfect then, though. That sucks. You're not even getting the fish. You're just getting the star points. But I think it's like oh, what is this? It's so much more points. Actually, I got worse than last time. It's so many more star points than. See, 468 star tokens for 50G versus like purchasing them for 1 for 50G. So I just got 400 times what I can purchase them for. So I may as well play the game. The slingshot one is not as good though. Ooh, I might not get the perfection bonus this time though. Definitely not with that, what the hell? Sorry, I looked away. I got panicked and looked at... Oh, Jesus Christ. See, why are they harder now? I feel like it does suck that the fishing is all... is like a... There's a very luck element to it. Because not only is there, like, the fish can just randomly go really wild based on what type of fish it is, but also you've got to predict when it'll drop, which I don't think you can. Like, it's just kind of like luck, like, oh, I think it might drop now, and then, like, letting go of your fishing rod early. Because you can't drop your rod, you can only raise it and then just let go and hope it beats the fish to the ground. I just kind of gave up then, but I have made more money. But I won't have my perfection bonus, so I think I've made less score. Yeah. Why did you jump with me? What the hell? Oh my god. Yep, tiny one. What is this? Is it because I'm playing it? Like, more than once? That's a different fish. I thought maybe, like, it's giving me harder fish because I'm playing it more than once. Which could still be the case, and it's just like, they've added more fish to the pool so I can struggle. And I guess because I lost a few times, maybe it's dropped. I don't know. I don't know how they've programmed it. I'm doing terrible though. Half what the last one was. I do feel like this bar should be a little bit more forgiving than it is. Like when it's bouncing at the bottom, I feel like that shouldn't count as nothing. I'm gonna do the slingshot one. I'm just gonna do it well this time. I'm sure the top score should be the same as the fish, right? What? Oh, I suck. It's the second time I've done that wrong. I feel like there was more last time. That's better by a fair amount. 2 times accuracy multiplier. All right, I could get better at that. Oops. Look, AIM Labs has told me I have really bad, like, peripheral targeting. I just, like, literally tunnel vision. Really? I got that. They did that worse. I mean, I did get the same. Actually, I did. Yeah. All right. Keep going. Just 400 more score to go. Oops. I did worse that time? I feel like I was going really good. I guess I'll get what another thing that I need. Yeah, I want the prize ticket. And then I need that rare crow. We'll play this again. It'd be nice if there was like a little bit of randomness in the game, but like there's a lot going on in this game, so I'm not too salty. I got a better accuracy than I've been getting. Same score? No, better score. And better accuracy multiplier. Alright. The fish is annoying me, so I'm just gonna play this one more time and hopefully get enough. Aha! Uh-oh. I got less accuracy, but I got more score. I'm gonna get less score in the long run, I think. Yes. Alright, we got the stuff we needed for the rare crow, and now we can end this day. Sick. Yes. Did I say yes? Ah. Oh, I never talked to Marnie. Here goes nothing. And if high ups are winning, the fish look nice, but they don't smell great. That do be how fish be. Wow, that's the biggest cheese wheel I've ever seen. Very impressive. I'm assuming Pierre's gonna win this one. I'm pretty sure I just need Gold Star Artisan Goods, right? And I don't have that. Your display has been judged. Return to Mayor Lewis for the result. Not bad, you won second place with a rating of 80. Your prize is 500 star tokens. Don't forget to clean out your Grange box. Sick. Best of luck to you if you enter. It's great to be on top, huh? Nice effort though. Alright, calm down. Okay, no one else. Oh, you? I already saw her. She told me something interesting. Oh, the fortune teller. Oh, what did my... Oh, I really don't know why that happens. But I caught it that time. Whenever there's an audio stutter, the capture card's frozen. And I can still play the game on this end, but you won't be able to see it on yours. And I don't know why it happens. Now I've got 500 extra dollars. I think I'll just get a light green rug while I'm here. Ooh. Smoked turkey haunch. Guess this festival isn't all bad. Wish Gus would include a vegetarian option. Some zucchini skewers, maybe? As much as you like. It's all free today. Compliments of Mayor Lewis. Oh. Get borged. Trying to get Gus to tell me his sauce recipe, but he won't budge. I mean, fair. That tourist is gonna die. This barbecue sauce is amazing. Can I just leave? Yes. Alright, let's sell these artisan things that I no longer need. Let's wear a fedora, because we're cool. Let's place this rare crow. I still do not know if it's an actual scarecrow or if it's just for funsies. Did I put the prize tickets in here? Yes. I think I can sell. Yeah, I can sell the stuff. All right, and that's all done. That's all done. Do we have any more eggs in here? Yes. I think I need more iridium. Some gold though. I'm assuming at some point I can turn gold into iridium. Pretty sure I give the amethyst to Marnie. Can I make a chest? Yes. Can I put the chest? Do I need to put the chest in here? Clothes. Alright. Oh, the burger gave me stuff. Huh. I was not expecting it to. Didn't make, like, bank, but... Alright, we've got pumpkins. Oh, the second batch of pumpkins that we planted, I forgot about those. And the jam's done, which is good, because I can do something about it. Let's sell the blackberry jam, that jam. We don't need to sell the gold, we can sell the cheese, the mayo. Oh, can I put that rug in the house? I mean, that's where rugs go, so I'm assuming so. No. That's what I do. It's actually pretty much like the house laminate is, but like the rug next to my bed in my actual house, pretty much the same thing. All right. Now I've been told that pumpkins exist. And jam doesn't do gold. So I'm just gonna... You can do pumpkin. I mean, as far as I know, preserving stuff just increases... like... the thing. So... I guess if I can preserve pumpkin jar, it will be better than if I didn't. Because it's just like a free extra money from something that like it's seasonal anyway, so like I have to be careful with it to begin with. I'm not sure what these are. There might be more pumpkins. Oh, I forgot about the orange jelly. Bedroom stream. I will try. Yeah, it's fun. Stardew's fun. And stressful. I'll have to play co-op at some point, but not for a while, for sure. Surely there's no. It would be sick, yes. But I still need to get into Minecraft again. To be fair. I did just update it. So I'll be there eventually. I still need to make my escape room dungeon. Oh, I clearly milked that one. I clearly clicked that one. And you've betrayed me. Ooh. Where did you get that salmon from, my guy? So much fruit in here. Don't think I need any of that though. I don't think it's worth keeping. Like foraging berries, definitely not. I think salmon berry was like one of the least useful things. Can I just like get a baked fish? Is that like a recipe? I made sashimi out of salmon. That is a recipe. That like makes sense. That's where how I would expect you would make sashimi. All right, that's all watered. Let's get to Robin as fast as we can, which is there's a lot of foraging stuff down there. This way. I think it's probably easier to go this way than go into town and up. Wasn't there a fruit I needed for the community center though? I'll just have to walk back. It's Wednesday and Robin's not open Wednesday anyway, is she? Oh no, Robin is. Construct farm buildings. So we need... Now, shed's good for, like, a good keg situation. $10,000 wood and stone. Oh, I can make that, right? Oh, it doesn't, like, change the coop. Okay. Okay, cool. Oh, we'll go back around. It might genuinely be easy to walk this way. To get to the community center faster, I've been using the minecart to get to the town and then going up, because I thought that was the fastest way, but this might just be faster. Ugh. I'm running out of steam. Finished off my energy drink, so we're screwed now, guys. It's just nap time. Alright, we have the stuff to get geese now. I don't think I need an apricot. I'm pretty sure roast food doesn't do any good anyway. I thought plum... It was pomegranate. And that goes to the chef bundles. I can finish off the vault to finish that bus. I don't know why I need to finish that boss, but I can do it right now. I've got stuff growing, so like it's not like I'll be like tight on money. Let me get that fiddlehead fern to him. Oh, fried egg and a maki roll. I'm assuming I need rice, seaweed, and I'm assuming it's good seaweed. I don't really know what a maki roll is. But I can do those two. I just need a truffle, which I'll get pigs for that. Oh, it's the Enchanter's Bundle for the... So we'll grab that and we'll put the fiddlehead and that in the community center. Oh, I just grabbed the lot, didn't I? Jesus, what? Just while we're here. Do not eat the cheese. Oh, you know what? While we're... Alright. We're gonna go into town. We're gonna go to the fiddlehead fern and the pomegranate to the community center. We're gonna finish off the vault just to get it done. Why not? Got the money. And then we're gonna go to check those crab pots that we set like 2 weeks ago in game for fish. I think it's all in here. So we'll do this one first just because it's here. Put a gem and it will grow copies. Ooh. Iridium? Is that how that works? Iridium seems like a gem. This house was empty for years, the trees moved in and so did we. Oh, it's pretty. Why would a community center have this huge bank vault in it though, may I ask? I'm almost done with almost all of those things. Just like FYI. I watch it? No, I have time to... Don't have time for this nonsense. Alright, where's Penny? You're in Penny's spot. I don't feel like working tomorrow? Like you're sick? You don't feel like working tomorrow? Or just like, blah, I feel like I'm gonna pretend to be sick. That kind of thing. It's 4:20, so Penny's in a van blazing it, I'm gonna guess. No. She's teaching kids. It's unlike her. I should probably give blueberries to Lewis more often. It is a tough choice. Pelican Town your whole life? Not really. Thank you, I really love... Okay, we've, like... Look at that, 2 hearts to go. Should probably talk to Marnie again. I don't know where a Nautilus shell, like, I don't know if that's just gonna wash up on the beach. Okay, we got prawn and you. Do you, like... You don't put bait in them, do you? I guess we'll see. Both go to the crab pot thing. The crab pot thing's huge, actually. That doesn't surprise me as much as I made it seem like it did. Alright, we got coral. We got whatever you are. I'm assuming a Nautilus shell is something that we fish up as trash, Or maybe it's just random. Alright. The forest? Just the forest? Good evening. I've talked to you because I want to be vaguely your friend, however, I didn't bring blueberries. Yes. Do you like pumpkins? We gave Penny a gift. Alright, sick. Let's go back to the community center, I guess. Now we got 2 more stuff to put in there. I'm pretty sure in like the first little portion someone said that I had already messed up the ability to do the community center this year, which I'm not trying to rush. Like, I don't care. I don't know if that means that I like can't do the like I don't know if there's a limit, because like there's that thing that's like, oh, I'll return in 3 years to check on your farm. I don't know if that's like a thing that I need to be wary of. That like after 3 years I have to like restart or something, because I don't know how Stardew works. Again, still don't know what those rare crows really do. Oh, we're missing a fruit. I don't know if you can make blackberry wine. Sick. What am I doing? I'm trying to see if I can make an iridium crystal grow. It says ore, which makes me think it's not a crystal. Yeah. But like... should I just put emerald in there for now? I don't know. I don't need to make an oil maker if I don't have truffles yet. I need to wait for Robin to finish building stuff. I need all these things to cease. I need it to be winter so I can just reset my farm, essentially. Alright. I guess... I've used so much wood and not much stone, to be honest. That's pine, don't need that. Is there a visual difference between maple and oak? Is the orange the maple. No. I guess the orange is the oak. I should go before I fall asleep again. Let's grab that. We'll sell those cheese tomorrow. The bus has been repaired. Alright, we essentially just earned $9,000 then. Whoops, I didn't mean to pick that, shit. I really need to like put a flower, seasonal flower behind the honey boxes instead of putting them in with the farm. Oops, I can steal them. Oh. I didn't lock you away. Whoops. Oh, Robin's there. I was just chatting. Can we not chat? What? Oh. I guess so. Grung doesn't produce milk, if you were wondering. Not sure what that could mean, but just if you were wondering, that's what's happened. Alright. Eggs go in here. No extra milk. I swear we had 4 cows producing milk at some point, though. Did Grung just change gender randomly? Is that possible? Probably not. Doesn't sound like something the game would just have sitting there. Alright, moss goes in here. Ooh, what is that? Is that maybe more amaranth? One day these sprinkles will line up nice and neatly and I can stop just watering plants altogether. No, I don't need to, but I need to, you know what I mean? I still don't know if it's worth going into that cave and picking the berries, I'll be honest. Let's go check. I don't know if those crab pots are time-based or not. Penny's got... I need to talk to Penny. I haven't finished talking to Penny. I think Marnie needs amethysts, which I've got on me. So I haven't talked to Penny, but I've given her gifts. I can give... I swear I have talked to Penny. Or is the talking a daily thing and the gifts are a... weekly thing. Let's give this amethyst to Marnie. Pine tar. Do that for speed grow. Ah. Ooh, why am I mounting that backwards? Wonder where Marnie is. Hopefully I can find Penny corralling those kids somewhere. Abigail's over there. Oh. It has been dormant for decades. Someone must have done some magic and forced it to open. I don't know. Take out from the saloon. A saloon does takeout? Interesting. I feel like, I don't know. I just didn't expect a saloon to do takeout, I guess. Oh. Thanks for joining the bunny den, Dre Sean. Epic, you came at a good time. I'm just about finished cooking a new recipe I invented. Ooh. Let me just finish up real quick. I don't like that sound. That's not a good cooking sound. Yeah, give that a little taste. Uh oh. I got energy. But... that was delicious. I'm just gonna say, well, it's definitely unique. How did you get it so rubbery? Oh, I'm sorry. Well, I guess this recipe was a failure. So have we watch a movie or something? It's best to be honest in relationships, I think. What do you think? Should a person be judged by their actions or by their intentions? Actions. I guess that's true. These leaves weren't here last time. What's going on? I probably would have said both if I'd read the question more thoroughly, but I didn't. So I don't know what Leah does, but every time I talk to her, she's just like, there's a lot of shit on the ground that you can eat. And I'm not a fan of it. You know what I mean? Thanks, Michael Zone. I'm not a big fan of adding people on Discord randomly, but cool. Did you hear about the old bus? Yep, I'm back on the saddle, kid. Feels nice. Aren't you like 80% alcohol, Pam? This seems like a bad idea. Oh, is this... Why do I need to go to Calico Desert? I don't know what that is yet. Let's do it. Let's do it. Yeah. Who are you? A diamond for a trip that you don't pay in gold. Okay. Triple shot espresso. I want a triple shot espresso right now, actually. That would be really nice. Like maybe just a double shot, but a triple shot wouldn't be... Like I wouldn't be against the double shot. A triple shot, sorry. Mixed with like a cocoa or like a hot chocolate, that'd be top tier. Megabonk. We haven't used a Megabonk yet. It requires hard reading more. Why would you? We need that. That's sick. A warp totem. Recipe. A butterfly arch. Green turban. Oh, that needs bat wings. So this is what this is like a lot of expensive stuff. Dark piano looks sick. I don't have 999 coal, but it looks sick. Alright, what am I doing here? Some clay, I'm okay with some clay. Can I plant these home? Just wooden sap. I'm gonna leave those for now. There's an oasis here. Oh. Ah, customer. Wait, did it just stop at customer? Hi, welcome to Sandy's Oasis. Hey, you look just like the new farmer that Emily wrote to me about. Then the bus line to Stardew Valley's back in service. Oh, I'm so happy. You poor burnt thing. What? Can only be grown indoors, takes 12 days to mature, and then produces fruit every 3 days. Are these... No, these are just seeds. Shirt, a mannequin to dress up, coat stand, clothesline. It's a lot of stuff. The seeds are interesting. Now, I'm pretty sure you get rhubarb seeds. I'm pretty sure Pierre sells them in spring, but starfruit, yeah, it's seasonal, and I don't think it's seasonal at the moment. Okay, this is interesting and suspicious. So I'm guessing when I get the greenhouse, the oasis seeds are going to be pretty useful. Do I can't cut. No, hang on. Cactus fruit. Now these are where you teleport to, I've realized. After that one warp totem that was crazy. And a big waste of resources. What are these, lightning rods? Ooh, a weird little cave. Ooh. Scary skull. Okay. Interesting. Firstly, that seems like a big archaeological dig. that could be important that no one's doing anything about, and I don't like it. I'm assuming that temple is like gonna be super important, and then there's this. I don't really know. Okay, I thought you might have had to pay twice. But that would mean that you, if you didn't have enough money, you would just die out here, which would suck. But okay, that's cool. I have too much stuff on me. I might be able to make a cactus. Can I make freaking tequila? I'll keep the cactus in case I can make some jam or some wine out of it. We need oak resin. We got 1 oak resin, didn't we? Did we not get 1 oak resin? Don't think I picked up any cheese, no. I gotta assume that was oak. Because that's maple. Yeah, that was an acorn that I got from you. The orange one's oak. Does that tick on it mean I've already read it? Can I sell it for money? Oh, just experience. Alright. Fairy Mum of Boys, thanks for joining the Bunny Den. Enjoy yourself. And welcome to Stardew Valley, I guess. I'm slowly running out of steam here. I might call it quits after this day. I really should have had a longer energy situation going on. I did drink an energy drink during this stream. Maybe I should have like a matcha or something. That might have maybe hit me a lot slower. But yeah, good morning, I guess. It is midnight here, but good morning. Autumn created a lot of trees here, as far as I can tell. Oh, I just lost a lot of wood. That's alright. I don't really need it. Oh, I need it for the barn. 5 AM here in Las Vegas. Heck. Early morning. Alright, this is slowly getting cleared. Just gonna get rid of these, they're in the way. Some weird shadows going on at the moment. Alright, these are growing up. I don't remember, I think they were planted equally distant on purpose. I don't remember what's what, but I'm hoping I've planted 2 oaks. You guys look like you're in bed. Alright. Firstly, let's move that around. We need more food here. Secondly, moss goes in here. We never ended up finding Marnie, actually. Do I need that for anything? I don't know. I feel like there was some mineral that I was told that I should keep a lot of. But I've forgotten what it is now. Alright, we didn't make much today. Should we play one more day to get to 3? I think we should, because you got the crab pot. I kinda hoped it was raining today so I wouldn't have to deal with all this. I'd like to buy a pumpkin from you. My daughter and I want to cover jack-o'-lantern for the upcoming Spirit's Eve. Okay. I should have pumpkins ready by Spirit's Eve, if that's what you wanted to call it. Oh, there's pumpkins as well. I grew a lot of pumpkins. I really need to fix those with the flowers. Alright, let's let the pets out. Oops. I mean, yeah, alright. Oh, it's upgraded. Oh, let's go. Let's buy some ducks. Why are you grumpy? Why is Tumas grumpy? Food? I swear I fed you yesterday. Wait. Oh, we are out of food, fully. I don't know, I think having grass nearby means I don't need to feed them as much. I think I could be wrong. I think that's why you plant grass, like you can buy grass seeds in case you mess up and there's no grass nearby. I believe that's what the case is, I could be wrong. Ooh, chicken statue. Where do I put this? I'm not sure. Bam. Okay, you're angry, I know, but we've got hay now. Does it only go on top of like tables, maybe? A little, yeah, okay. So they're hungry. But we're getting food. I've got my chicken on. I gotta put the chicken away. Where do I put the chicken? I don't like... Statue of chicken. Oh, it's an artifact. I thought it was an actual... Okay, I guess I'll just sell that then, because I can't put it anywhere. You can put the cube operator, in addition to doubling the capacity, you have taken the liberty of installing an incubator to use it to simply place an egg inside. If you have space left in your coop, the egg will hatch in several days. That's sick and all, but... I'm making tequila. Oh, I can make tequila. Hell yeah. That looks not watered. Egg. 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 Milk. Milk. Egg storage. Oak resin for crafting. Keg. Copper bar and iron bar required. Okay, corn. It's Friday, so I'm sure I can talk to Marnie. Give her an amethyst to butter her up, and then after that, I need the pine tar. I should grab it anyway, just to get it done. I would like a duck. Actually, I would like 4 ducks. Clearly that one. We're gonna name this duck Fairy. Actually, Eden was first. Great, I'll send the lead into our new home right away. I want to buy another animal. It's a duck. I'm just gonna name this one Fairy, because I'm assuming there's a character limit. And I guess I should buy another duck just for fun. And we'll just use random engine generator for this one. Prussel, absolutely. Prussel, let's go. Actually, I should have named one Gunter because Gunter was in a few Stardew Valley streams when we didn't have any more animals coming in. Okay, there's a few grasses over there. I don't know if there's like a strategy for grass to like grow it properly. Alright, I gotta make these ducks happy. Is that the only 2 ducks that are in this area? There's one here. Wait, can I have made more ducks? I've got 3, didn't I? But there's 8 spots. So I should have got another one. That's alright. That can be Gunter when I do it. And Gunter can actually be here when it happens. I need to move these into a place where I can plant flowers. I wonder if the more flowers mean more stuff. Like if I put 1 flower in between 2 beehives, is that like 2 beehives making honey? what's the best honey to make? Things to think about. I'm gonna give that seed to Leah when we find her. Do I need to give anyone anything? You need to be talked to. Marnie needs a gift. Oh, I didn't give a gift to Marnie. She's gonna close. I think she might close at 4. This lake in the middle of things really fun and not at all annoying. Marnie. Oh, you're still here. I need to talk to you. Catch me a saloon most nights, I know, but I don't want to go there. Animals are great company, but I need to spend time with people too. Interesting, interesting. Do you want an amethyst? Thank you. That's it? Alright. Oh, you wanted to go to the saloon, I get it. Fair enough. I worry about winter and the hay situation. Oops. Gotta make more tequila for sure. I'm assuming this makes tequila, right? Or is it just gonna be called like cactus fruit wine? I guess we'll keep those fancy the Omni Geodes because we can buy stuff with those. I can't make anything iridium yet. A quality sprinkler would be nice, but again, I need to sort this out, so I need to wait till winter and then like replace where all the sprinklers go. Let's check on. I gotta talk to Penny. Oh, Pam's going home. We're gonna drink, I guess. I wonder if she's doing better now. The buses every day's the same old routine. You just gotta. My day is all the same routine, but you just literally got a bus yesterday. Bus is back and running. I'm sure Ham's happy about that. I heard she'd been drinking more after losing her job, so hopefully this helps. Yeah. Correct. Alright, don't you have work to do, mate? 200 sit-ups, that's useless. Do like weighted sit-ups and do them in sets, small sets. Don't. What are you doing? A duck's feathers make for an excellent quill. Make sure you bait your hook. I mean, yeah. I figured. Laura, do you want... Sorry, Leah is your name. Do you want a seed? Yes. Nice. I do. I can. You guys are cute. Alright. Back to Penny. We need to get full romance option. Where does Penny hide when she's not at home? You do, I've noticed that. Do I need to talk to you some more? Depressing, huh? I mean, no, not if you enjoy what you do. And like, at the festival, you said you enjoy what you do, so. Penny. When I was a little girl, my father abandoned us because he said he felt trapped. We haven't seen him since. Sorry to make things uncomfortable for you, it's just that this time of year it makes me think of it for some reason. Anyway, how's farming? Yeah, right. So it happened like this year, like around this time whenever it happened. That sucks. I still don't know where this balloon is. Balloon this way. That's not a balloon, that's Jojo Mart. Is the balloon there? Like, will it be there? Have I checked it when the sign is up? Is that the balloon? That's the balloon, isn't it? We have been up here, but we mustn't have been up here when the balloon thing was up. Oh, you can trade books for stuff. That's sick. Ooh. I want that. Oops. That's so helpful. That moves faster, you gain extra speed riding a horse. I don't have a horse. Maybe I should get a horse. Now run a lot faster through grass and crops. Gain some mining experience. So mining, farming, and then running faster. Interesting. And it tells me I've read that. Cool. Alright, so that's what that's about. Okay, I'm pretty hyped on the fact that I can now see how much things cost. I'm assuming you can't sell any of those. Pink cake? Actually, yeah, I don't know. I've heard that cooking isn't worth it. It's probably not. Now, hang on. Aha. So 5 of those cost $4.50. That's probably important to note. Kind of hoped it would say, like, in brackets, this is a cost of single item. Oh, while we're here, we should check out the crab. Pots. I assume that you get like a crab pot a day, right? Ooh. An artifact. I feel like I must get a Nautilus shell from smacking these guys. Did I? I feel like there was something I sold from the beach that I could have. Yes. I betcha it's crabfish. Yeah, so we've got one more crabfish thing. Nothing. Oh, I need to load it with bait, don't I? Oops. That's how you do it. All right. I wonder if there's a different thing. I I didn't intentionally load it with bait because I was like, oh, I couldn't load it with bait while I was holding it, and I couldn't remember how to do it. But I do wonder if there's a way to tell if your stuff has bait in it. They're not like... Okay, that looks like it must be crab pot nonsense. So we'll try and sell stuff for that in the community center. We need to get home quickly. Oh, get him away. You're coming home. Did you just leave the saloon? You're insane. Everyone just like dips out at midnight. That's insane. I've not seen a small town that stays up past 9 PM. Ooh. Ugh. I don't like how that looks. And this is also the last day, so we're just gonna have to deal with it not looking great. I'm assuming it's just preserved, like pickled pumpkins or something, right? Well, that cost nothing. That chicken statue is useless. I really thought it was something. Alright, so that's all saved. None of this is gonna matter. Just wanted to see what this is. It is pickled pumpkin. $690. I think they're $480 normally, so it has almost doubled the pumpkins. That's insane. No pumpkins yet. Oh, and that's sunflowers. Okay. Yeah, we definitely need to make a beehive area where there's just a flower sitting around. And that gives me an emerald, yes? Oh, and it keeps creating emeralds. Cool. That's good to know. I'm assuming you lose... Like, you can't get the item that's in it back. So, like, I've lost an emerald, and now we've broken even. If I do it again, I get a second emerald. But if I try and put another item in there... Like, I need to make sure I get at least one emerald out of something when I put it in. Alright. Cool. I forgot them again, unfortunately, but that's alright. Let's exit to desktop, I guess. Alright. Cool. So, we got an achievement today. No, wait, we got 2 achievements, didn't we? No. No, we got donate 40 different items to the museum achievement. That's cool. Oh, and there's the notes as well. More oak tappers is what I'm gonna write in my notes. We need... I don't know what we need for community center. I'm gonna write community center needs question mark to like convince myself to be like, oh, what do we need for the community center and what can we go for? So we need more oak tappers to get the more oak resin for the barrels, the kegs. I know there are aging barrels. We haven't unlocked those yet. I don't know what they cost. We need to go mining because we need some iridium to get those iridium sprinklers. And we need to save a pumpkin for that quest. I think that's all. I think that's all. Alright, that's our goals for next time, for next week. I might try and stream Sunday morning or Saturday night. I'm not sure. I do want to play some Magic Arena at some point soon. But I don't know how much. I thought I had more cards, but I have only got 4.5 hours on it on Steam. I don't know how much I have in the game because it wasn't on Steam for a while. And I don't have that many cards. And no built decks. I must have deleted them all. So I need to build some more decks and stuff before. And I could do a deck building stream, I guess, where we like try and figure things out. Because I'm not good at building decks. I usually just like I get the basics of deck building in that like you kind of want to spread out your mana cost creatures, have enough stuff to like spawn stuff early, and then like have some creatures you can spawn later on. I would say you probably want higher 1 to 2 mana cost creatures. Well, 1 to 3 mana cost creatures you really want a higher amount, and then like 1 or 2 like 6 or 7 mana cost creatures to like be the kind of, these are what you're building off of for your smaller creatures to kind of feed them, is my goal with that. I don't know. I need to look up deck building stuff. Maybe I'll do a stream where I like straight up just look up deck building strats. I also really wish Magic Arena had a commander mode and not a brawl mode, because I was like, oh, build a commander deck for brawl, because brawl's just commander. It's not just commander, because you can have a planeswalker, and planeswalkers are 10 times better than any legendary creature. Except that you can attack them directly. You can't attack legendary creatures directly. I guess that's the trade-off, but they're so much better. They have a level system. It's insane. All right, that doesn't matter because that doesn't apply to Megabonk or Stardew Valley, which is what you're watching for. So maybe a stream Saturday night or Sunday morning. If not, I will see you Monday morning for Marvel Rivals. I have posted a thing on Discord to be like, hey, I'm playing Marvel Rivals. It could be a solo stream. Ideally, I want it to be a multiplayer stream. I wouldn't be against having viewers joining the game that are on my Discord. However, I probably won't do anyone that isn't a close friend from overseas, because I can't deal with ping normally. So I'm not gonna be dealing with your ping if I don't know you. Yeah, like that's pretty much it. Just the few Americans that are in the creator group are gonna be in there. Otherwise, like, ideally you'll be from Australia, maybe New Zealand. Cool, sick. Yeah. All right, I'll see you when I see you. Thanks for watching, and yeah, if you haven't already, give me a follow. Check out my YouTube videos. I haven't been uploading that much, so you're probably going to be bombarded with just the streams. Yeah. Funny out. See you in the next one.